Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering The Watchers, which came out in 2024. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, we are drinking the Republic of Tea High Calf Ginger Mint Green Tea, which has green tea, ginger, spearmint, peppermint, and green tea extract. And rather than having 25 milligrams of caffeine, it's got 50 milligrams of caffeine. So, definitely a good one. Yeah, I think out of the high calf teas, this one's the lower high calf.
I think so.
But it's a good one.
It is
We
good.
have been enjoying it.
It is.
But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love.
See, it's not just me.
And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, our main character, Mina, becomes trapped in a dense Irish forest and seeks refuge with some strangers from these creatures that they call the Watchers. And together they face nightly terror from these creatures lurking inside the woods. So for entertainment, I didn't expect a lot from this movie. I honestly didn't know a whole lot about it just from your suggestion. And I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. To me, it didn't really come across as a super scary movie. It was definitely intense, but I really enjoyed like the lore.
It was, I love the lore, especially for like dark fae lore.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fae lore that I had heard growing up. Not the fluffy, pretty fairies and things that want to bring you things and all. No, I heard this kind of lore.
Interesting. So I really enjoyed it. So I'll go ahead and say my rating. I gave it a 7.75. Like, I will be watching this movie again. I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked Mina's character arc of her, becoming, first started out with a person that was like really quiet, and you learned that she really doesn't like herself because she had caused like the accident that killed their mother when she was a child. And then she grows beyond that, and the creatures like really complement and mirror her like trauma around that. So I thought they did a really good job with that. Also, like the actress the actress herself delivers like a really strong performance. Like the dialogue felt natural, the emotion felt convincing, like the bar scene or talking to the bird. Like I really like as well that they use the exposition as being integrated through like voicemails and also like her character interactions and also talking to the bird. I thought that the way that they kind of peeled back her character a little bit more still felt natural. The professor's storyline I thought was really immersive, and it kept me like wanting to know about the mystery. And the film kept me constantly guessing about like who would survive. Like honestly, I felt like the one chick with the husband, I thought she was gonna go for sure at first. But then I was surprised that it was, I think his name was Daniel or whatever.
Yeah,
I was so surprised it was him. And then the changeling twist with Madeline being a changeling was unexpected. I thought it was really well executed. Since they kind of left it open, I think if you were like really paying attention, you might like deduce that, you know, one of them might be a changeling, especially since she had been there the longest. But I don't know. I thought I wasn't expecting it. I felt like it was a really good twist. It's like, for me, the film wasn't terrifying, but was tense, and the mystery like really held my interest. Oh, man, but the burrow scene, that was like really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I was like, get out of there. But yeah, the movie has a good blend of horror lore and character-driven storytelling. And the cinematography for this film was actually
good.
really beautiful.
It was good.
And then I thought the creature designs were really interesting too. Like the changelings were creepy. And especially when they're like hiding and you see it straighten up.
Yeah, stand up to their full height.
Yeah, I thought that
Ooh.
was so good. That was so good.
At first glimpse, I almost thought maybe Wendigo, but I'm sitting here like, this is the wrong area for Wendigo.
I also
Then they mentioned that they were like more changeling type, and I was like,
I will say I might have to see if there's a soundtrack for this movie, because I really like the music in the movie. Like it like very well complemented like the hauntingness of the movie, but they also didn't make it too overpowering, I felt. Let's see. And I did like that they didn't show a lot of the creatures. Like they kept it pretty limited and
that
shadowed.
played in their favor for sure.
Yeah, that was really effective. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this film, even though I wouldn't call it necessarily a scary film. It's more of an intense film with a lot of lore packed inside of it. But yeah, it's like I really liked the changeling reveal where it shows like the transformation. And then the twist with Madeline being the changeling, I thought that was really interesting. And then the final confrontation with the changelings of them like pretending to be the husband, and then also at the very end with Mina being against like Madeline and having that mirror and having her character growth. I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, overall I feel like it was a very well executed film.
Yeah. I give this one a 7.5. This one was by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and I feel like she did a really good job. There are times when I feel like M. Night Shyamalan movies are like hit or miss, and they can come off as kind of cheesy at times. But this one didn't feel, and obviously it was a different person altogether. It was his daughter, not him.
Yeah.
But it didn't come across as cheesy or anything. I feel like most of it was pretty well thought out, especially the design for the creatures. It was definitely a creature feature. But the design for the creatures was interesting. I think it definitely played to its advantage that they weren't shown too much, and oftentimes when they were shown, it was mostly like glimpses or shadows, like their silhouettes.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily see them fully except for a handful of scenes.
Yeah.
And it's just for the barest moments. So that was pretty well done. The character development for the most part was pretty good. I feel like in the beginning her character was a little flat. But obviously they dive more into it as the movie progresses. So I do appreciate that. I love that the bird parrots back only a couple of phrases. And they're mostly like, try not to die. And the bird lives. So happy the bird lives. The fact that she named it Darwin also just... I love that. That was great. I feel like we'll get to this more in the realism, but I feel like there should have been more evidence of other people that have been trapped there trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
Personally, but again, we'll get to that more in realism. I do also wish that they had explained a bit more fully why they were trapped in that particular forest. But we'll get there too. I do feel like the end, we could have kind of done without the confrontation scene a little bit. I feel like that could have been done a little bit differently. It was just a choice. I personally might have gone a different way, but it's not my movie. So, and it was decent for what it was. I just feel like her talking to Madeline and getting her to change her mind, that moment felt a little, for lack of a better term, fluffy. And I feel like for the most part, this movie was fairly dark.
I did feel like she changed her mind really quickly.
It felt like it a little bit. So it seemed like it didn't quite fit what was going on.
I can see that.
But, again, it was a choice. So it's whatever. It wasn't horrible. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying I might have preferred a slightly different way. And we can talk about that after the realism. Because I want to hear what y'all think too.
So for realism, I give it a 3.5. I feel like some of the character decisions were questionable. Like when Mina is told not to turn her back to the glass, but whenever she's sitting on the couch, her back is technically towards the glass, even though it's like up against the couch. And then also, why wouldn't they tell her these rules on the first night that she arrives? Like, it seems like they had waited a couple of days. It's like, It seems like those are kind of important because they said they have to do that to survive.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird.
Like, they need to see your face at all times.
Yeah. And then I feel like it also had, as we've seen with other movies, it had similar issues to Lights Out, where being in the light is safety, but then they're inconsistent about the rules of how much light is needed to be safe.
Yeah.
And then this is just a nitpick, but birds can't just repeat what you say. You have to say it repeatedly multiple times over a period of time, because there's a part where Mina had said something to the bird and then the bird immediately said it back. And then
I'm going out. Try not to die.
Yeah. Some tactics that the characters used I felt like were smart, but sometimes the decisions sometimes leaned into horror tropes. There were a few frustrating moments, but yeah, it's overall though it wasn't too bad. I felt like the characters,
Oh, Stephen.
Oh, I felt like the characters reacted pretty naturally to... Or here. Mm-hmm. I felt the characters reacted naturally to what was going on around them. And I felt like their paranoia and tension, it felt genuine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the lore I felt was really compelling. I really enjoyed the twists and the motivations. And then, there definitely was room for speculation. I'm glad that they didn't over-explain things, but, it does, it's one of those things where it's there is a balance between giving us enough information where we're satisfied, but then not over-explaining things. So it's I feel like this could have pushed the envelope a little bit further mm-hmm. with giving us a little bit more lore explanation. But I feel like if they were a little bit too heavy-handed, it would have been over explaining. But yeah, I feel like overall though they did a really nice balance.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave this one a 3 as well.
Oh.
The lore is really interesting, and for the most part in the movie, they stick to it.
Yeah.
I agree again with the level of light Like, we always have this issue with this kind of rule. How much light is too much light?
If we ever make a movie like that, we're going to be like 2,500 lumens or more. Get like super specific.
Like, is indirect sunlight too much light?
Yeah, like, what about moonlight?
Yeah, what about moonlight? Because that's technically from the sun as well.
Yeah.
But they seem perfectly fine in the moonlight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It just, it's such a gray area that people play around with so much, and I feel like it can really, really push it sometimes.
Yeah, it's a dangerous concept to go with.
And we will be reviewing another movie that also does the same kind of thing later on. Mm-hmm. That'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on as well. But otherwise, I think they did some nice subtle things where they have, like in the burrows, they have little treasures and things from previous people that had gotten stuck there.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. She had a very good idea to set up the camera outside and hook it up to the TV so they could try to see what they were. Mm-hmm. Because there for a while, she's like, I don't know if they exist.
Yeah.
I don't think they're real. Even though they hear stuff outside. I mean, that could be faked with, like, speakers and things. Like,
or it could be just, like,
things.
animals.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they heard applause, but applause could easily just be a recording that you hit a button and it goes off on speakers. Yeah. Like, not a big deal. So I do like how they played around with that, that idea of, is this actually happening? Is there something weird? Because let's be real, a lot of people that wound up there would not automatically accept, like, there are creatures out there that come out every night and want to kill us. Yeah. And we have to stand in front of this two-way mirror, essentially, and they have to see your face at all times for us to survive the night. I feel like most people wouldn't accept that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little sus.
Yes. So I appreciate her going through the different things and trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do, again, feel like there should have been more evidence of other people that had gotten stuck there trying to find a way out. And I feel like Madeline, especially, since she had been there the longest, would have some idea and would also be kind of trying to find some method of escape, because that was her ultimate goal anyway. And I get that survival's kind of big and it's kind of difficult to do on your own in the middle of the forest with very little to help. Like, they were building traps out of sticks.
Yeah.
So I get it. And also to be able to catch birds like that to eat, props. Like, that's not easy to do. I feel like a lot of those traps would be better suited for rabbits, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't find any of those, but you know, different forests have different wildlife. I'm not versed on that area. Aw. All the people that got trapped there and no one thought to follow the birds, or at least note the direction that the birds fly in every single night. Like, without fail, they go out that one area every night. The professor says it in one of the videos. And no one thought to note this or try to follow the birds. Like, note which direction for a few nights. Hey, it's the same every single night. Maybe we should go that direction.
Yeah.
Animals know things. I wish they explained more fully why the creatures were trapped to that forest. And when they were shown the way out, why were they still trapped there and couldn't leave?
Yeah.
that part didn't make quite as much sense to me. Again, I felt like it was a little fluffy, the confrontation scene after. I don't understand why they had so much evidence to suggest that the husband of the chick was dead.
Yeah.
And Daniel still thought, no, it's definitely him.
Yeah, that was
he
weird.
Survived. I gotta help him. Why? That, I feel like they just killed him off to kill him off.
Yeah, it didn't...
It made for a cool scene where you could see him changing from the husband to Daniel.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet, but I feel like they killed him off for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I would have honestly believed it a bit more of the wife than Daniel, personally. I know they said Daniel looked up to him like a brother, but it still felt a little forced. Like a forced death.
Especially with how desperate she was to try and open up the door the first time. It just would have made more sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that didn't make that much sense. So for an alternate ending, personally, I felt like once they were on the bus and they were like panning out after she said, tomorrow morning I'll go to the university and destroy all his stuff like he requested. When they were panning away, I feel like that was a decent spot for an ending. If they really, really, really wanted to have that reveal of Madeline being a halfling, they could have just shown Dakota Fanning finding the material like she did and seeing the picture of her and then the obituary. And then just cut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, as far as the movie goes itself, I feel like that would have been good, but I also feel like her facing Madeline kind of like did a full circle on her own like character growth.
I get it. Again, it just, the feeling of that scene felt a little too lighthearted for what the rest of the movie was. It was nice to see the very end scene where she's reconciling with her sister and seeing her nephews for the first time, or what seemed like the first time, and her explaining things to her twin of, this is what I went through. I do occasionally still see Maddie here and there, like in crowds, just as different faces. Like, I'm still being watched, just a heads up. Which wouldn't be creepy at all. But, you know, I feel like I had something else. But, yeah. What do you guys think about the ending, and how would you do it?
Yeah. Yep. But, yeah, overall, it's like, I feel like it's definitely worth a watch. There's parts that could have been done better, like the ending. But overall, I feel like it's a really strong film.
Oh. Huh? I remembered what it was.
Okay.
Sorry. I feel like the professor's logic was seriously flawed. He kept harping on and on about cheating death and all, but a changeling can only really copy like appearance and voice. They don't copy memories. You can't just have a changeling morph into the person and expect it to be that person.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when a kid's hamster dies and the parent goes and gets another hamster that looks just like it, trying to replace it. It's still not the same hamster, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then also kind of a disrespect to the changeling itself. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, it's its own being with its own, like, feelings, thoughts, all of that.
It is. And I feel like it's also kind of an insult to the deceased memory.
Yeah. It's hanging on to something that should be let go.
Sometimes dead is better. Yeah. It's not like they're trying to bring the person back.
Right.
That would have made more sense if they had magic, like actual magic, and he thought that they could bring someone back, and then found out later that they just changed their appearance and was disappointed and saddened by that. That would have made a bit more sense. But he kept harping on about, no, we can bring people back by having the changeling morph into them. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No reason to say sorry. But, yeah, as always, thank you for joining us today, and we would love to hear what your thoughts on the movie are. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea, just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye.